Someone posted in the Restoration Rebels Facebook group the other day a question that should rock the property claims industry when the answer is found out. They asked who and what is True Line LLC, that they got a comparative estimate back and all over it the pricing was changed from the Xactimate price to True Line guarantees this pricing for 60 days and a lower number, obviously. And he asked a pretty important question. Now, is it that True Line knows more about pricing than Xactimate? It's valid. The material cost is already baked in. It's kind of the point. And it surveys thousands of contractors anonymously. They build their number at least rooted in good faith and generally accurate to the cost to repair a home. So when somebody comes in that no one's ever heard of and starts overwriting those Xactimate numbers inside your estimate and stamping a guarantee on it nonetheless, the first thing that you want to know is, well, who are they? And they made that almost impossible to find out. And for good reason, I guess. You see, their site, TrueLineMSP.com, says that they're based in Colorado. Quick Colorado Secretary of State search shows that there was one True Line LLC on file. They dissolved in 2021. That was a lie. Domain behind a private proxy site, not even indexed on Google. You can't find it unless you already know that it exists. Their own privacy policy says they have a parent company that will handle your claim data and they'll share it with, but they refuse to list who that company is. They do list their lawyer, though, and I'm sure I'll be hearing from him shortly. He can save his postage. Look, nobody spends this kind of money to disappear unless being found out costs them more than hiding. So what are they doing that's worth all of this? Well, it's simple. Their FAQ, in the first question on the page, they promise, in their words, that a true material cost is opposed to an average for the market. That's them telling you in writing that the market average is the wrong number. The market average is the thing that Xactimate exists to measure. So the pitch is, Xactimate's number is wrong, ours is right. And they'll guarantee that 60 days out. Well, kind of. That they say that it holds through a supplement, it holds through even a priceless adjustment across thousands of materials. Now, the thing about it is it only holds for the contractor. It only holds for the homeowner. It does not hold for the insurance carrier because right under that it says that they don't even stand behind their own pricing, that they do not guarantee the accuracy of the pricing. A lawyer wrote that. I need you to understand that it's not satire. A lawyer wrote that the pricing company doesn't stand behind their pricing. Their guarantee is bullshit. And look, if the number is wrong and it costs somebody real money, their liability is actually capped at $100. Mandatory arbitration, no class actions, no actual courtroom. The guarantee is worth absolutely nothing. And the person that eats it isn't the carrier. It isn't you as a contractor. It's the homeowner who gets a smaller check to rebuild their house that they live in, devaluing their property. Now look, that's ugly, but I want to be honest with you about something. Ugly isn't the story here. Plenty of companies write shady term pages. Nobody burns a corporate identity and hires that kind of counsel over shady terms pages. The disclaimer wasn't that they were hiding. That was too small. You had to go back and look just a little bit further for a door that they left open to hide their identity, because their identity, that was the thing that was going to cause them the real problem, not just from a legal standpoint, but from a strategic partnership standpoint. You see, there's a domain that's still live, flooringserviceprogram.com. It loads a little placeholder page. We've made some exciting changes. This is now part of Trueline, and then it redirects you. Flooring Service Program, FSP. And FSP, well, they're owned by the artist formerly known as Code Blue, AccuServe. Again, of course it was these guys. Because their CEO, Hunter Powell, calls it their innovative product. He brags publicly that it's servicing several of the top 10 P&C carriers. Now go search Trueline on AccuServe's website or FSP or anything along those lines. Nothing. Not a page, not a mention. No connection whatsoever between AccuServe and Trueline. They scrubbed the filings, they proxied the domain, they de-indexed the site, they hired a law firm, all while keeping one stupid door open, which is so on brand for them. And why go through great lengths? Well, go back to what it does. It reaches directly into Xactimate line items, overrides pricing, and then stamps its own number on it as the authority. That is not a vendor relationship. That is not a strategic partner that I'd imagine the fellows over at Lehigh would be happy to have. I'd imagine there's probably a few conversations that need to be had over there about what that partnership looks like moving forward when they found this out. And trust me, they found this out. However, this isn't about just like software companies competing with each other. This actually gets a little bit deeper because when you actually think about it, they're harming actual policyholders, actual American, you and I citizens. And this exact pattern, routing everybody's pricing through one shared engine that decides what the work is really worth, is kind of what the DOJ is into these days. They're actually on a bit of a warpath about it. Multiplan, who now rebranded themselves because changing your name mid-fight is apparently what's in style. See, they run medical bills through a tool that decides what, the doctor did is actually worth it. Some say that it cost $19 billion in healthcare costs this year. And now nobody's found guilty, but the judge refused to throw out the case. And the DOJ has sided with the doctors in this case. Then you have RealPage, the rent algorithm that every landlord in America was feeding right up until rent all started to move in lockstep. DOJ settled with them, but they got a slap on the wrist, and definitely they didn't have to admit guilt, but look, I'm not a lawyer. Mine were very clear that I'm not allowed to answer if what AccuServe is doing is similar to these two companies. But you know who can? The Department of Justice. They have a citizens complaint center. The link's in the description. It takes like 5 or 10 minutes, and you can tell them Trueline sent you. Or AccuServe sent you, or Code Blue. I don't care. They're the same exact people. Because AccuServe, I really need you to understand this, and it's so important. You will always be Code Blue, and slander is only slander when it isn't true. Till next time.